Good evening, everyone. I am super excited that each and every one of you are here this evening for our Empowering Excellence series session. And tonight's presenter is no stranger to District 6, Distinguished Toastmaster, Miss Linda Dorn. She will be presenting a highly requested encore performance of her presentation that she gave at the Summer TLI. First, let's learn a little bit about Linda. Linda joined Toastmasters in 2017 to improve her public speaking skills, but quickly discovered there was so much more to Toastmasters: growth in leadership, guidance from mentors, and treasured friendships. Through the last 6 years, Linda has had the opportunity to serve with and learn from various teams in Toastmasters in her roles as club officer, area director, pathways guide, division director, club coach, and district trio member. Linda has over 20 years of training and special events planning experience in higher education. When not in Toastmasters, Linda serves as a stewardship specialist for Carleton College. Tonight, she will be presenting Membership Recruiting and Retention: How to Be Intentional in Your Efforts. Membership Recruiting and Retention: How to Be Intentional in Your Efforts. Please welcome Distinguished Toastmaster, Miss Linda Dorn.
Thank you so much, our wonderful District Director of District 6, Colleen Marie Kelly. And thank you, everybody, for joining us here on a Monday evening. I am very passionate about this topic, and I'm so thrilled that all of you decided to attend tonight. It is my sincere wish that all of you take away just one nugget, hopefully more than that, but at least one nugget that you are going to bring back to your club and just be really excited to share. And not only are you going to take that nugget away with you and bring it to your club, but I want to know what that nugget is. So I'm going to ask you for that before you leave tonight. I'm also going to ask you to engage in some conversation, and I am going to ask all of you to make sure that you have your cell phones. Now, that may be a surprise. I know sometimes we say, put away the devices, make sure that you're not distracted. But I am using a software that's new to me. It's called Slido. And this is the first time I've used this during a presentation. But this is a way for us to engage in some polls, some word clouds. So I want to make sure that you bring out your phones and you are going to answer some questions during the presentation so that I can hear from you. And then there's going to be a time when I'm going to pull my slide down and come back to this gallery view, and we're going to engage in some conversation. And then I hope that at the end, we're also going to be able to come back to this gallery and just engage in some more conversation so that we can share some ideas and I can answer any questions that you might have. Before I share my slides, I want to share a couple of pieces of information. I broke some rules. I want you to know I broke a lot of rules when it comes to PowerPoint, but that was on purpose. I probably put too much text on some of my slides, but I did it for all of you. I did it for all of you because I took the notes for all of you. My hope and my intention was that I took notes for you on my slides so that you had a full listing of a variety of PR, marketing, membership, and retention tools that you can have in your toolbox, and links and various ideas that you can put in your toolbox are all going to be enclosed in this wonderful slide deck that you're going to receive after this session. So I hope you will give me some grace, but that's the method to the madness when you see maybe a few too many words on the slides, but that's so that you have all of that wonderful information at your fingertips. Is that a deal? Do I get a thumbs up on that? Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. Oh, not that one. I'm going to stop sharing. I'll do it again. Okay. This is the wonderful thing about presentations. Sometimes you practice things, and then when it comes time to present, you'll think, well, that's fascinating. That's not how I rehearsed it. Okay, let me try that again. Here we go. Okay. There, that is much better. Okay. So here we are, membership, recruiting, and retention. Does everybody have their cell phone out and ready? Okay, wonderful. The first thing that I would love for all of you to do is to either scan the QR code in the upper left corner or go to slido.com, and you'll see that in the lower left corner, and then type in the event code and answer this question. How is your club meeting? Is it 100% online, hybrid, or 100% in person? And I'll give you a few moments to access that. Fantastic. I see people answering. This is great. We'll just give this a few more minutes while people are logging in.
Linda,
Yes.
I don't know how to do either scan the code or put Slido in. Scan the code? How would I do this?
So that's a great question. You can open up your camera.
Okay.
And you can put your camera up to the QR code, and then a link will appear for you to click on.
Open in Chrome.
Yep.
And then push that.
Yep.
Okay.
And then see if that opens for you.
And I see Slido. Okay, I got it. Thank you, Linda.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you for asking. Now, isn't this interesting, the split that we're seeing? We have 17 people who have participated so far. And right now, the majority is sitting at hybrid. But we also have 100% online. Right now, with at least the group in the Zoom room, we don't have anybody meeting 100% in person. Something that I want you to be mindful of, and this is just some feedback that I've heard from recent guests, you may find that guests might be looking for a certain mode of meeting style when they're looking for a club. Some people might be looking for the opportunity to still meet in person, so they might navigate toward a hybrid meeting instead of 100% online. So if you haven't made that switch to hybrid, and if you have that opportunity, that might be something that you might want to consider as you're moving forward. Just something to consider as you and your club are looking at ways to meet. Not to say that you have to make that change, but I have heard some feedback that some guests have decided that they do like to have that option to meet online or in person because they can build skills in both of those meeting modes. Okay, so here's what I have planned for all of you tonight. I promised that we would talk about some recruiting. In the recruiting area, I'm just going to briefly cover public relations and marketing. And we're also going to talk a bit about prospecting activities. How do we bring those prospects or future Toastmasters into the room? Then, once we bring those future Toastmasters into the room, how do we make them members, or how do we close that sale? And I am going to introduce you to a wonderful phrase. Is there any reason why? but I'm not going to tell you more right now. That's just a little teaser. You have to wait until the end to learn more. And then we're going to listen and learn about retention. And there have been many times when I've attended membership seminars, and there's been a lot of focus on retention of new members. But my friends and Toastmasters, we cannot forget about our existing Toastmasters, our longtime Toastmasters. Because our longtime or our current Toastmasters, their why changes over time. The reason that they joined maybe 2 years ago, 1 year ago, 10 years ago, that why has changed. And so it's important for us to provide engagement opportunities for all of our Toastmasters. So I want to provide some tools for you to consider for all of the members when it comes to retention. Now, when we're thinking about public relations and marketing, I'm just going to move back to that first bucket on the far left. Sometimes it's easy to intermingle the PR and the marketing. But let's think about it in two different ways. Public relations is all about awareness. It's all about making sure that everybody knows that you're a Toastmaster and that you have a Toastmasters club. It's about social media, news releases, public service announcements, blogs, articles in newspapers, free ways that we're building awareness for our Toastmasters clubs. A good public relations program will lead to membership. It will gain recognition for your club, and it will certainly enhance perception that you have a great product to offer, whether you're a corporate club or whether you're a community club. And then, of course, the marketing, that's when you're going to spend some money, typically with, let's say, posters or brochures, or maybe you're advertising in a community education program. And again, that's a little teaser I'm going to dangle, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. So I'd like you to use the Slido poll again, and I'd love to hear from you on ways that you use public relations and marketing to attract new members. So go ahead and type in the slide how you are currently using public relations and marketing to attract new members to your club. And when I share my slide deck, I'm also going to capture all of your responses and share this information so that you have this. Yes, website, social media, workshops. Great. Yammer, newsletters, Eventbrite, Nextdoor. Great. Meetup, LinkedIn, Facebook flyers, Speechcraft. Yes, yes, yes. These are all great ways to use public relations and marketing. We presented a leadership team meeting to over 200 people. That's fantastic. What a great way to share information about Toastmasters. Library flyers. That's fantastic. A nice public space. Make sure that you have a community space and you're sharing out information about your club. A table at an event. Yes. Spinning wheel of prizes. I love that. An email within the company. And announcements at our office meetings. Spreading that net wide. Special events, a club website, meetup. Another Eventbrite, announce special events in an agency daily news. Yes, another way that you could do that is through a community newspaper, a community calendar. So these are all really great ways that you can use public relations and marketing. So I'm going to go to my next slide, and a lot of these are captured on that next slide. So again, when we're thinking about recruiting those important future Toastmasters, we certainly want to use public relations and marketing because they definitely go hand in hand. With public relations, we want to use those news releases and public service announcements. And if you haven't used them already, Toastmasters International has created news releases and public service announcements in the brand portal that you can use. They're already written. You can just pop in your club's information and send them off to your local newspapers and your local radio stations, and they're fantastic. But what do you put in those news releases and public service announcements? Well, what about announcing your newly elected officers? Have you done that? That's a great way to build public relations and awareness. If you work for a company and you're sharing the names of officers, I promise you, somebody is going to know the names of those officers. And they're probably going to reach out and say, oh gosh, I didn't know that you were involved in Toastmasters. Tell me a little more. That's a great way for peer-to-peer connection. They already know somebody. And then that's a great way for your officer to say, why don't you be my guest at my next meeting? So make sure that you're working smarter, not harder. If you have guest speakers, use PSAs and news releases to announce those guest speakers and those various avenues to announce those guest speakers. With marketing, market your open houses, of course, fireside chats. I saw some folks list newsletters, websites, Speechcraft. Announce your club contests, get your corporate friends and colleagues and your community members to your club contests. And a lot of you listed social media as well as ways that you certainly promote marketing and public relations. So you're using a lot of the same things that I have listed here. But I want to highlight a few things on this slide that maybe you're not aware of. First, did you know that Toastmasters International has a Marketing 101 flyer that has all of these fantastic resources organized for you? I'm going to click on this link. And I want to make sure with a thumbs up, Colleen Marie, I can see you. So can you see the club marketing guide? Great, thank you very much. This club marketing guide is a fantastic resource. It will show you flyers, brochures, events, corporate club flyers, things that are designed specifically for corporate clubs, web tools, branding, and resources to help you convert prospects to members. And it's all here. All you have to do is open up this PDF, and each of these titles that you see here are direct links to documents that are already beautifully designed. And all you have to do is type in your club's name, your club's meeting day and time, or your URLs, and you are ready to go. You have brochures here. There's information here for various events. If you're going to have a Speechcraft, you have Speechcraft information here. If you're part of a corporate club, all of this great information is right at your fingertips. Web tools. I want to highlight this Why Toastmasters. It's the last bullet point under this web tool. If you don't have an online guest packet, this is a great website, a great URL to use for an online guest packet. Your branding, the brand portal is listed right here. And then again, the conversion from prospect to member, a lot of great resources here. So all of that is going to be listed right on this marketing link right here. It'll take you right to that document. So make sure that you check that out. I don't know if all of you have used Canva, but if you haven't been using Canva, please do. Canva.com is a phenomenal free resource. You can go to canva.com and create posters and different social media ads, all sorts of things for Instagram, and business cards, letterhead, just anything that you can imagine. And there's all these wonderful designs that you can use. Toastmasters International has also created Canva templates. And this link will take you to a listing with a whole page of links that are all ready for you, beautifully designed. Again, all you have to do is type in your club's information and you're ready to go. And Canva offers a free account for nonprofits. So you can get a upgraded account by sharing that you are a nonprofit organization. So if you haven't played around in Canva, I would highly recommend that you do that. So I hope that you added maybe 1 or 2 items here for recruiting and marketing to your toolbox. Another thing that I wanted to recommend that you do, especially if you have a LinkedIn account, is to share with everyone that you are a Toastmaster by writing an article. This is something that I did back in 2020, but I shared it on this slide just to give you another idea. I wrote an article called How Toastmasters Helped Me Grow in My Public Speaking and Leadership Skills. And then my club was also having an open house, and I invited everybody in my LinkedIn network to my open house. What's great about this is that it's completely free. This is not a LinkedIn ad. I didn't have to pay a penny for it, but I was able to build awareness, build PR. I promise you, everybody that I know knows that I am a Toastmaster. My family knows I'm a Toastmaster. My friends know that I'm a Toastmaster. My work colleagues, I send invitations through my work intranet. I invite them to District 6 events. I invite them to Toastmasters International events, to my club meetings. I invite everybody that I know to Toastmasters. I put on my personal social media channels this event tonight. Make sure that everybody knows that you're a Toastmaster. There's no reason why you shouldn't be screaming this from the rooftops. Think about what Toastmasters has done for you and share that gift with everybody else that you know. And again, in LinkedIn, this is another great way that you can easily share with others in your circle if you're on LinkedIn that you're a Toastmaster, what Toastmasters has done for you, and slide in a little invitation to your next club meeting. I also wanted to highlight this link that I have at the bottom of this slide. And this is the link to the Toastmasters International Members Group. This is a fantastic resource for you to look at if you're looking to add new content to your own club's website. Check this out. If you want to learn about other articles or other events that are happening from around the world, go to this Toastmasters International Members Group. It's just a really great resource. I'm going to stop sharing right now because we've certainly engaged in the Slido on public relations and marketing. And I showed you the resource on how to market and get the word out about your clubs. But I'd love to hear from you about activities that you've offered to find prospective members. So I'm just going to stop sharing for a moment here. And I invite you to unmute yourselves and share what you are using to bring people in the door, to bring those prospects or those future Toastmasters in the door. Don't be shy. We're Toastmasters.
That would be Speechcraft.
And Carrie, talk a little bit more about Speechcraft, maybe what it is, because we might have some newer members and what you've done with that program.
I've done Speechcraft now 3 times, and I've found you can do it either in a 4-week, a 6-week, or an 8-week cycle. And 6-week is optimal as it actually fits directly into a level 1 pathway. At the end of doing Speechcraft, your Speechcrafter will have completed a level 1. They will have, hopefully you've gotten them into selecting a pathway. They get credit for that right away, and they're already on the board and in the system and energized in that respect. So that's why a 6-week Speechcraft is really good. I also market it with, it does teach the fundamentals of public speaking. And that's what people are looking for. Short course of things in a, small amount of time, and market it with table topics are great for interview questions and interviewing those skills. People want to write resumes, how to write presentations or speeches. You can really grab them from all of those avenues, and Speechcraft itself has marketing materials in it to help you advertise it.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Carrie. I appreciate that. How else are you prospecting or bringing future Toastmasters in the door? Paula.
Oh, sorry.
I am through Carrie, she helped me and the club sign up for Meetup. And almost every week I'm getting people that are going on Meetup and also signing in to be in one of our meetings. And our club meets this particular club meets every other Thursday at 6. And for some reason, people from all over the US like that time because it's later in where they're coming in from. And so it might be 7 for them. So they like that we meet at 6 so that it's not so late for them. But we've had people from New York, from Georgia, and many people from Minnesota. And so it had not been for Meetup, I don't think we would have gotten these prospective guests for our looking into our club. And now we are working on inviting them to join.
And Paula, I appreciate how you said from all over and outside of Minnesota, because being online, we have that opportunity to welcome future Toastmasters from outside of our region because of the fact that the meetings are online, and that just gives us an opportunity to cast that net a bit more wide. So that is fantastic. That is fantastic. Thank you. And then I see, Allison, you put in the, you sent me a message that you're a Rotarian and a new Toastmaster. Oh, yes, that's a really good question. So there's also the Rotary and Toastmaster Alliance, and that's something that has been advertised as well. I know that Toastmasters International created a specific program for Rotary, and there is the opportunity for a partnership between Toastmasters and Rotary, where the Rotarians can work through their unique program, and they can partner with Toastmasters clubs to present their speeches at a Toastmasters club and receive feedback, and then they can join, just like you did, at a Toastmasters club to move on and get perhaps even more advanced training through pathways. So that's a little bit of an overview of how the two programs can work together. I hope that helps. Maybe one more. Does anybody have one more way that they're working on prospects? Sandra.
Prior to COVID, when I lived in California, we had a club there that was very involved with their local library, and they worked with their librarians to put in bookmarks that they made in all the self-help books on communication. And they even had their librarians slip them back in when the books were checked back in. And it was a great lead generator. And we also had our open houses at the library, so we had a relationship with them. And then if I can pick on Vicki Dolphy, I want her to tell us how she snagged me as a member in one of our clubs.
Look at her laugh. That's great. Vicky, you're on the spot.
Oh, if only I knew exactly how it worked. For me, I feel like Sandra really, really appreciated the follow-up after the meeting. It was about sending a individualized follow-up, thanking her and all of the guests who are coming to the meeting. And I found for not that much money, and I realize there are free options too, but I do pay for an electronic American greeting card account. And that way I could send different thank you notes, follow-up notes to people right away on email versus sending the physical ones, because we were all meeting online. It was just an easy way to send a nice thank you note to people.
I love that personalization because that really is meaningful. If you think about in today's day and age, when you go out to the mailbox, how many personal letters are you getting in the mailbox? I don't know about your mailbox, but mine are pretty much bills and maybe some flyers and maybe somebody's has a sale going on, but I'm not getting a lot of Hallmark cards. So when somebody is attending your meeting and they get a nice personalized thank you for coming, that is going to resonate with me. And that is going to be something that I'm going to remember. Vicky, if I could give you a star, I'd give you a star. So there you go. All right. So let's go ahead and continue. I have some additional prospects that I would, prospecting activities that I'd like to share with you. So here's some more that you could put into your toolbox. One activity that I recommend is the high five. Now, here's one thing that I just really want to stress. We all, oh gosh, I hope we get guests tonight. I hope. Friends, hoping is not going to make it happen. We have to work toward it. And here's an activity that all of you can do. Do the high five activity. You and your club members can actively make a commitment. It can be for an open house, or it can just be at your next meeting. Each and every member is going to make a commitment to ask 5 people to come to that meeting or that open house. Now, I promise you, all 5 people that you ask are not going to say yes, and that's okay. But it's a numbers game, because if you ask 5 people, probably 1 will say yes. But here's the thing. If you have 10 members and all 10 are asking 5 people, and of all of those people, all 10 of your members get 1 guest, and you have 10 guests at your meeting, that's a pretty good ROI, wouldn't you say? So that might be something that you want to consider. Try that high five event. Now, I have to say, I did present this idea at the Toastmasters Leadership Institute, and I was thrilled because one of the members that attended that TLI tried the high five, and they had 9 guests at their meeting. So it does work. Now, several of you had mentioned a lot of these things, the corporate intranet, that you can certainly use that to prospect to future Toastmasters. The website contact form. This is the gift that keeps on giving. This is when somebody goes out to Toastmasters International because they are interested in Toastmasters. They find your club, they fill out a contact form, and then that form goes to the officers, and that is a hot lead. That is someone saying, I am interested. Please, please, please respond to that. I have to tell you, I have heard from several people who have said, I had to contact 3 different clubs before someone returned my request for information. That just makes me so sad, because that is the biggest gift that somebody is giving us. So when you get that email from somebody, enthusiastically and promptly respond to that website contact form. Make sure that you have a template ready to go. Thank you so much for contacting us. We're thrilled to hear from you. Here's when we meet. And then here's something that I'm going to ask you to add to your template. I'm going to suggest that you invite that prospective member to come 10 minutes early to your meeting and ask them to also say 5 minutes later. Come 10 minutes early and 5 minutes later, because you want them to come 10 minutes early just so that you can go over the meeting a little bit before the meeting starts, and then 10 minutes after to answer any questions. But I'm going to go a little bit deeper into the psychology of that in a moment. And then again, prospecting activities. Invite people to membership contests. Invite your former members. Maybe they walked away for a little bit because they needed to take a break, but they might want to return. So go ahead and invite your former members to come back. Reach out to Chamber of Commerce. See if there are events that are coming up in which you could have a table, or maybe you could get some lists of businesses in which you could advertise your Toastmasters Club. Colleges. Friends, I work for a college. Our college students need us. They need Toastmasters. So if you have colleges in the area, reach out to the career centers and invite those professionals in the career center to come to your meetings so that they can see the power of Toastmasters and what you can provide to their students, and then work with them to get the students to your club, or better yet, help them to start a club on campus. Colleen Marie would be more than happy to help anybody get a college campus started with a new club. Employment training programs. They usually have different flyers that are set outside that have different resources that are available. Why not put information about your club meeting in their different racks that they have available? Or maybe they have an upcoming conference that they're hosting. See if you can be a part of that. Rotary. I mentioned a little bit about Rotary earlier. And we have a great relationship with Rotary. Tell everyone you know that you're a Toastmaster. That's the best PR that you can do. Create a list of businesses and organizations that are around you and invite them to your Toastmasters meeting. If you're a corporate club, see if you can get involved with the HR new member orientation. If you can just have 5 minutes where you can talk about the benefits of Toastmasters and that you have a Toastmasters meeting that either meets online, hybrid, or in person, whatever the case may be. See if you can start that partnership if it already doesn't exist. Community events. See about having a booth at some festivals around town. Work that PR, make sure that everybody knows that you've got a Toastmasters club in your community. And we already talked about the power of speechcraft. So now again, pre-meeting contact. When someone reaches out to you, please respond promptly, show you care. Confirm your Zoom URL and the physical location, the date and time. Send an online guest packet with information. Ask that guest to arrive 10 minutes prior to the meeting so that you can meet them, so that you can go over a few materials before the meeting starts. And then send that guest a reminder the day of the meeting. You can just say, hi, I'm so excited to meet you. I just wanted to remind you that tonight's meeting starts at 7, but I'd love to have you there at 6:50 just so that we can go over a few things before the meeting starts. Another thing that you might want to do is send the club members the name of the guest and let them know that a guest is coming. What a great way to build momentum for that meeting, and then help all of your club members welcome that guest to the meeting as well. Okay, so here's the psychology for that 10 minutes before and that 5 minutes after. When guests come and they come 10 minutes early, this is information gathering. And this is so that you can make sure that you are understanding the guests' why. Why are they interested in Toastmasters? Because it's so easy for us to just throw the kitchen sink at any guest that walks in the door and why they should join Toastmasters. What we really want to do is listen and hear what's important to them and let them know how Toastmasters can help them achieve their goals, what's important to them. Let me give you some examples. So when somebody comes in to a meeting, it could be in person or it could be online. And if it's online, you could even set up a separate meeting room to meet with the person so that you're not all meeting together, in the online main room. But I might just say, let's say that Jamal is the guest for the evening. I'll say, Jamal, thank you so much for reaching out. We're so thrilled to have you tonight. I'm just wondering, why are you interested in Toastmasters? Why did you reach out to us? Now, Jamal might say, my boss told me that I should check out Toastmasters. Jamal might say, I'm really afraid of public speaking and I just want to check out Toastmasters because I want to work through that fear. I want to work through that fear of public speaking. Jamal might say, I'm a little rusty in my public speaking skills and I thought Toastmasters could help me out. Or he might say, I just got a promotion and I know I'm going to need to present more. And I thought Toastmasters could help me build my public speaking skills. Whatever Jamal says, file that away. File that away because you're going to use that when you end the meeting, when you have 5 minutes at the end of the meeting. And, you can say, oh, that's great. You can just say something like, well, you've come to the right place. Toastmasters provides a positive and supportive learning environment where you can grow and you can build those skills. Then you can review the agenda, maybe go over the meeting rules so that isn't so foreign. And then make sure that you tell your guests about table topics and what table topics is, and then ask them if they want to participate. There is nothing worse than a guest in the middle of the meeting being asked a question during table topics and then them saying, and then them feeling put on the spot. They didn't know they were going to be asked. It's really uncomfortable, especially if they have a fear of public speaking. You can just say, here's what table topics is. It's an opportunity to answer a question. You answer it in 1 to 2 minutes. It helps to build our ad hoc speaking skills. Is this something you'd like to try, or would you just rather watch for tonight? And then you get their answer, and then you tell the table topics master. And then right from the get-go, before the meeting starts, whether they want to participate or not. And then before the meeting starts, you introduce the guest to the club members. And then you make sure that you tell the guests, hey, at the end, we're just going to ask you what you thought of the meeting. Now, I know this took a lot for me to explain, and you're thinking, really, is this going to happen all in 10 minutes? It does. Once you kind of get used to doing this, it flows beautifully. But you're setting the stage for success for your guests. You're making them feel welcome, and you're learning their why and what's important to them. Then at the end of the meeting, hey, Jamal, what did you think of our meeting? Oh my gosh, you guys are a lot of fun. And I really appreciated table topics. I can see how that skill can really help build public speaking skills. So then at the end, I say, thank you again so much for coming. I just wanted to go over the guest packet, show you some materials. And then I'm going to go back to his why. I'm going to say, Jamal, you mentioned that you just got a promotion. I just want to say congratulations. That's awesome. But you also shared that you're going to be doing some public speaking and you think Toastmasters is going to help you build your public speaking skills. And I agree. Is there any reason why you wouldn't like starting today so that we can help you build those public speaking skills? And you just smile and you don't say another word because you're waiting for that reason why. If you say, do you want to join? They can say no. And then you have nothing to go from. But if you say, is there any reason why you wouldn't like to join tonight? Then they have to give you a reason, and then you can guide the conversation. And it's not being mean. It's not pigeonholing anybody, but it's really understanding and getting to the heart. If they have an obstacle, then you can help guide that conversation. So I hope that helps with some helps with the psychology with closing the sale. Okay, so now retention. New member orientation. And I want to stress that at the end of my slide deck, I have a lot of links to many of these resources, including a new member orientation. Toastmasters International has a fantastic PowerPoint. It provides a new member orientation. It provides background on what Toastmasters is, the meeting roles, a great overview on pathways and how to select your first path, and a little bit more global view of what Toastmasters is all about. This is something that you can do as a monthly event for your new members, or maybe it's something that you record and you share it with your new members, or maybe your mentors that are assigned to each of the new members go over this with each of your new members. But think about it. If each and every one of your new members had a new member orientation that Toastmasters International created and had a firm foundation, they'd start the ground running and it would be fantastic. So this is something that I would highly recommend that you look into if you're not already doing it. Another way to build retention is to build on our skills. We're certainly building our public speaking skills, but there's other skills, leadership skills, and ways that you can build those leadership skills is through committees and special projects. Now, certainly open houses and contests, those take a village to put together. And you can engage your new members and your existing members. And that's a way that we can help engage our members and help them to learn in various ways, learn to build teams and learn how to delegate. Those are perfect projects to do that. But I also want you to think about ways that you can help your officers out. Think about your PR, your marketing, your membership, all of those different tasks that need to be done just at the club level. What if you were to create some committees associated with those different roles, short-term assignments that your club members could help your officers with? What a great way for your club members to get a little bigger view about what your officers do. And that's a great way for you to line the bench for your future officers to serve. And then we also talked about Speechcraft, but here's another level. Here's another level to take Speechcraft. Partner with your community education program and advertise your Speechcraft through community education. Northfield Community Toastmasters did this. And one year we had 8 participants at Northfield Community Toastmasters, and we publicized our Speechcraft through the Northfield Community Education Program, and we got all 8 of those Speechcrafters as members. Not only are you getting Speechcrafters, but it's great PR. And think about how many people are just paging through that big catalog. They're looking at swim lessons. They're looking at crafts. They're looking at dance lessons. Why not look at Toastmasters? Toastmasters should be in community education programs as well. Another way for retention, we need to find out what our members want. And the only way that we can do that is by asking. So Vice Presidents of Education, maybe you have one-on-one meetings with your members. Find out what their goals are. Do they want to complete a path this year? Do they want to complete their DTM? What are they looking for? Have one-on-one meetings to find that information out. They can complete a membership interest survey. And yes, Toastmasters International has one for you to use. And yes, I have the link for you in this slide deck. Mentorship. Connect mentors, a more advanced Toastmaster with a newer Toastmaster, and help them be successful by assigning a mentor to a new Toastmaster to help them navigate, especially that first level in their path and beyond. Okay, so Toastmasters doesn't have to always be about public speaking and leadership. It can be fun. Let's have some social time. Go out to dinner with one another. And it doesn't have to just be, let's go out to dinner and then have a meeting. Just go out for dinner. Just have fun. Or maybe have a community service project, team build within your club. That will help build momentum and connections within your club members. Another way to build momentum is to have a club brainstorm. Empower members to give feedback, not just the officers. And this can be done through certainly a moments of truth, but take a meeting to get feedback from members on ways that you can really build up your clubs. Maybe you need one-on-one trainings on pathways. These are all ways that you can retain your members because you're listening to what your club members need and you're offering what they're asking for. Review the Distinguished Club program during your meetings. At the end of your meetings, pull up the Distinguished Club program. Now, some people have said, oh, that feels like a report card. I don't see it as a report card at all. I see it as a success card. And I would challenge anybody to flip that perspective around. Use it as a cheer card. When somebody is completing an education award, clap. Look, we got another, point toward that DCP because Allison achieved level 1 in her path. Awesome. We got another new member. Look, there's another point on the DCP. That's a great way for the club overall to see how everybody works together to be a success in the club. So use that DCP to celebrate what everybody is doing together. And celebrate and recognize the members. If they're completing their education goals, certainly do that, but also celebrate those personal milestones. Did somebody have a baby? Did somebody get a promotion at work? Celebrate all of those things. These things together can certainly help with retention. So friends, I mentioned that I had a lot of resources for you. I'm not going to open up all of these because you're going to get the slide deck. So I'm going to give you some homework and you're going to have to look at these lovely things. But I have resources for guests. I have resources for members to look at. I have resources for club leaders, resources to strengthen your club meeting roles and scripts. I want to highlight this bullet point here. If you don't know about this, this is a jewel for especially your new members. Toastmasters has created scripts for all of the meeting roles. If you have a new member, you can send all of these scripts to your new members. Just send them this link and they will have a script explaining all of the different roles, and they will have a checklist that explains what they need to do in every single role. Are they the timer? They have a script that they can read to explain what they do as the timer. And then they have a little chart that they can use to list everybody's name and their time for everything that they're timing. Are they the counter? They have a chart to list all of the filler words and a script that they can use to introduce their role. Are they the Toastmaster? Again, all of the responsibilities and the flow of a Toastmaster role. This is such a great resource. I hope that if you haven't been using it, you will. I promised you, you have a member interest survey. That link is listed here. If you're looking for Pathways resources, I have a link here. And I thought just for fun, I'd also throw a link for officer roles in here as well. I mentioned that there was the new member orientation PowerPoint. I have the link listed here. And I gave an example of an article that I wrote for LinkedIn, but I wanted to share a resource that Toastmasters created for LinkedIn. If you wanted to create a club page so that you could buy ads on LinkedIn to market your clubs, I added that resource here. So that's another way that you could market your club is through LinkedIn. So friends, I know that this has been a whirlwind. I said this would be high energy and there would be a lot of information. But what we covered over tonight's session was information on recruiting, public relations and how to use it, marketing, prospecting activities to bring those future Toastmasters in the door. and what to do at a pre-meeting contact with those prospects. Then closing the sale, having those guests arrive a little early, asking them to stay a little after, and making sure you're using that phrase, is there any reason why? Making sure you're using that online guest packet. And for retention, things like a new member orientation, using committees and special projects, one-on-one meetings with the Vice President of Education, making sure that you're surveying your members, connecting mentors with your new members, and having fun, doing some socializing and perhaps some community service to build up your club and build up team momentum. So friends, I asked you at the very beginning, I was hoping that you would take at least one nugget from this session that you would bring back to your club. I would love for you to participate in this Slido and in a few words, list what you have learned from tonight's session and what you're going to implement at your club. And if you're going to do more than one thing, you can list more than one thing, but go ahead and enter that now. Yes, there are so many Toastmasters International resources. And I just love that marketing PDF because they're all in one place. The LinkedIn company page, yes. The new member orientation, awesome. Partner with Community Ed. Oh, it's such a great, great resource. Canva templates, the importance of being intentional and understanding guests, yes, and the why. Oh, so much great stuff. Oh, that's great. Online guest packet, HR new member orientation, Canva templates. Look at that. It's really coming through. Oh, this is great. Revisit prospecting. Yes. Wonderful. I'll just wait for a couple more. High five. Yes. And the 5. Yes. Rotary. Reach out to local businesses. Yes. Great. Canva is awesome. That's great. All right, friends, I'm going to stop sharing for right now. And at this time, I want to have open time with all of you. If you have an awesome nugget that you would like to share with the crew, something that I didn't share that you think, gosh, this has really worked well for our club, and I've just been waiting to share it with the group, please share. Or if you have a question, now's the time to ask.
Linda, this is Nancy. I just want to share something that's worked really well at Shakopee Toastmasters. When we have individuals that reach out with an online question, so that we're getting them from Toastmasters International, our our membership person, who's also our VP of PR, reaches out and finds out their whys. And typically they have a conversation ahead of time to know their whys ever before walking in the door. And they already have their online guest packet before they're ever showing up in a meeting. It really helps if we know their why ahead of time. And so that the members know, hey, we've got this guest showing up today. This is a little bit of their background. And it just really helps to set the stage for success if you can get that ahead of time.
Oh, that's great feedback. Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah, because anytime that you can get that why, I mean, that's why we're here. That's why we're here. We want to understand what makes them tick and why are they wanting to join Toastmasters? And then we can help navigate that conversation and explain how Toastmasters is going to help them reach their goals. And then we can continue that conversation when they join. Then we can help them make that decision on which path would work best for them, things like that. So thank you very much, Nancy.
Mhm.
Sandra.
I have a question back to you and to everyone here. Does everybody know about the Pathways catalog? It's an independently published document. It's something I created when Pathways first started, and it's now in version 5. And if you don't mind, I can drop it in the chat. Feel
Please
free
do.
to distribute it to your club and to your, if you want to put it on your club website or your district website. I mean, it's meant for everybody to share with everybody. But when I first became a Pathways Guide and ambassador, what I found was that so many people didn't want to access or didn't have access on a regular basis to the online. And so they also didn't want to have to go down into the levels of what the electives in 3, 4, and 5 were through all the different web buttons. So I pulled it all together. And basically all it is taking the pages from the online and putting them into an online PDF with hypertext links. And it's a really good way. My favorite part is the one page for each path. So you can look at your whole path on one page and cross them off as you get them done.
Well, that's great. Thank you. And Sandra has dropped that in the chat. So if anybody wants to download that, please do. And I will do the same. Thank you so much for sharing that resource. What other questions or ideas would you like to ask or share?
Linda, you shared so much that I'm definitely going to use some of the information you shared. And it's something that in a recent meeting in my agency, we had an individual who came and said her supervisor said she should use Toastmaster. If we had met with her, maybe as you're suggesting, ahead of the meeting and maybe afterwards, she shared that with everyone who was there, but sometimes that might be kind of embarrassing to share. My manager made me come to the meeting. So I like that idea about asking, encouraging individuals to come ahead of time if they're a guest, if possible, and to stay. So thank you.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
A fun thing we do in our club to make our club fun is we start off our meetings with something called the upbeat update. And somebody tells something about something uplifting.
Oh, I like that. Something inspiring or something uplifting.
So that might
great.
draw some people in. Then you got to keep them in.
That's great. Starting the meeting off on a positive note. That's fantastic. And I see a couple of people are wondering about the listing from Speechcraft. I will make a note and I will see if I can get that text and send that with the slide deck. And I see another question about pathways changing in 2024. And I don't know that pathways is changing as much as the learning management system is changing. Colleen Marie, I'm looking at you because you would be more knowledgeable about that than I would. Do you want to take that at all? I just know the LMS is changing.
Yes, you are exactly right. It is the LMS that is changing. That will be mid-year of 2024. And Brian Hinton is is on our pathway support team. So we actually have a full team of we have Brian and Paul Levinsky, for those of you know, and then also Marvel Coomer. So we have a team of 3 people for Pathways to actually support people, both in the current state of Pathways as well as in the future state of Pathways. And so we've already actually started doing some training with some of the divisions, and some of the other divisions within the district have actually been making requests to actually have encore performances of what they presented. So yeah, so there is going to be some exciting things that are coming up, and hopefully, it'll be really incorporating as much of the feedback that the members have been giving. So, which is good.
Great. Thank you so much.
Linda, I have more of a question come discussion point and wanted to hear your opinion as well as others. To me, membership retention is closely tied with membership engagement. To me, that translates to how well the new and the seasoned members are engaging in taking on roles or going for social events or even district events. What do you do when you see that form of membership engagement is going down in a club? So for instance, if a club has volunteer roles, so at the end of the meeting, so who wants to be a Toastmasters meeting? Who wants to be? I don't want to get in discussion of you should have assigned roles, but it is more about in terms of membership engagement. How do you kind of improve that? What kind of changes do you bring or encourage members to be part of that cohesive group of a club?
Ravi, that is really, that's a really great question. And I think it's going to depend. It's going to be a different answer for every club because every club has its own unique culture. And I think, if it's a corporate club, if it's a community club, you have to get down to maybe the reason why people aren't signing up for a role. Is it that they don't have time? Do they have other competing things at work? Are they concerned that they're not going to be prepared for a certain role? So I think maybe having some of those one-on-one sessions, for example, with the vice president of membership and getting to the why of the members, that could help because then we understand maybe where somebody is coming from. That could be something that a club could do. And then that membership interest survey, I think that's something that could be helpful. And the reason why I say the survey could be helpful, Ravi, as well, because some people are a bit more loquacious and other people are a little bit more hesitant to share feelings or things that are they'd rather write things down. There's different ways that people want to communicate. And so if we offer different ways for them to share their feedback, then we might get to the heart of their why. So I think those could be different avenues that we could take, and maybe even just having a conversation with somebody to say, we miss you. I know I've recently done this in one of my clubs. I reached out to somebody and I said, we miss you. We haven't seen you in the last 4 meetings. And I just wanted to make sure that you're okay. Is everything okay? And then I learned that he's been traveling a lot for work, and then I just said, well, number one, we just miss having you in the meetings. But I also know that you joined Toastmasters because you had some goals, and I want to make sure that we help you achieve those goals. So how can I help you to make sure that you're coming to the meetings and that we can get you back engaged in the meeting? How can we work together on that? So I just reached out with my sincere heart and said, we miss you. And what's happening? And how can we get you back engaged? And what's going to work for you? And yeah, that's one-on-one, and that might take a little extra time, but I think those types of things pay off because everybody's situation is unique. I don't know. Does that help?
Yes, just wanted to hear your perspective.
That's my perspective.
Thank you.
Anybody else would give you a different answer? Paula.
You hit the nail on the head several times when you said you kind of customize. Once you get to know why the prospective person or the seasoned person is in the club, you can kind of zero in on how to get them. And I gotta tell you where I'm getting at. Okay, so in one of my clubs, we've all been in a long time, and people are tired of, what can I speak about? What is the topic? Well, I know each one of the members really well, and what they got their masters in or what their job is. And if they can tie their speech into a path and the path level that they're working on. But for an example, we have one guy that his master's degree is geology. And he's into water and the climate and all of that. And so I will say, so-and-so, you haven't done a speech in a while. I would love to hear about why Arizona's so dry with the water. And if you could tie that in, and right away they jump in. Oh, and they're in their element when they're talking about and they need ideas. So I try to give some of the members ideas. And then to go into Ravi's question about the roles and getting people to commit to the roles, we find it works pretty well for the VP of Ed to just go ahead and assign roles. And because people don't seem to volunteer, and they have the option when they're looking later on at the sheets to see if, they want to cancel, but usually they just stick with whatever role we assign them. Just kind of like when you're in officer training and nobody's answering questions. So you just, so-and-so, what do you think? Well, so-and-so, you're going to be a speaker next week, and this would be a great opportunity for you to get rid of those ums and buts. And so those are things that we find that works to get the roles filled, and then also to come up with speeches.
Mm-hmm. Paula, I so appreciate what you said about the topics, because I think that's a question that I get a lot, especially from newer Toastmasters, but I think sometimes from more seasoned Toastmasters as well. And I think sometimes we make it harder than it really needs to be. There are so many topics out there that we can talk about. And if I'm just offering this out, this is a blank check for everybody in this meeting. If you need help, and we have our pathways person, Brian, I'm putting you on the spot as well. If you need help trying to figure out a topic and how to connect that to a Pathways project, you call on Brian, you call on me, you call on Paul Lubinsky, Colleen Marie, I'm putting you on the spot. You call on any of us and we will help you connect that, because there really is, in my opinion, no topic that is, off the table. You can make any connection with the various Pathways projects. Sometimes you have to be a little bit creative, which I would say that I am. But I think that you can definitely make that case. And Paula just provided a perfect example for that. So kudos, Paula. And by the way, sending you a lot of love. I haven't seen you in a long time. Good to see you. I'm just noticing the time here, and I don't know, Colleen Marie, do we have time for one more question? Okay.
Good. Oh, by the way, I can vouch that she is just slightly creative. And to say just slightly, you have to know Linda to know that that is an extreme understatement. So it's amazing the creativity she brings to anything that she touches or is involved in. So it always does.
Thank you. One last comment or question? Well, if not, I just want to thank all of you again for coming tonight on a Monday evening. I am so thrilled that all of you decided to show up and decide to have an evening of education and sharing. And I really hope that you take something back with you to your clubs and implement that item that you put on that last slide. And with that, I'm going to send it back to our Madam District Director for any closing remarks.
Well, thank you, Linda. And can everyone come off of mute and give her actually an applause that she can actually hear? That would be great. So thank you, Linda. I knew that you would not disappoint. You've always delivered things with excellence. Anything that you have done has been incredible. You are truly have been and are an asset to the district. And so really, I am grateful for all the contributions you've made up until this point, but I'm even more grateful for your future contributions as well. And so thank you again. And the video, we will have the video available for those who weren't able to make it here tonight, but then also too, sometimes when you have an excellent presentation, it's nice to go back and review. So not only will Linda have the slides, but we'll also have the video available too. So thank you again, everyone, for attending. And with that, so hope everyone has a great evening.